Welcome to popMATICS, where we make music as easy to play as it is to listen to. If you are a new student at popMATICS and you're interested in coming to our live classes, you'll notice that on the live class schedule we have 2 classes every day, Monday through Friday. And Monday through Thursday, those 2 classes are a listening class followed by a creating class. And in this video, this is going to be a guide to our listening classes. And I'm going to answer some of the questions that we get from new members. One of them being, what can I expect from a listening class? And also, are there any prerequisites? Are there things that I need to do before I show up to a listening class? So the answer to that first one, or that second one really, is that no, there's nothing that you have to do. You're welcome to just jump right in and come to class and get the experience there. We're never going to put you on the spot. Nobody's going to ask you to demonstrate anything in class or anything like that. You're welcome to come in and just watch, observe, see what we're doing. We have opportunities to ask questions and engage live, but there is nothing that you have to do in advance to a listening class. But I thought what I would do today is show you a little bit of the behind the scenes of what I do to prepare for teaching a listening class, and then show you a few of the things that you might see in class and let you know how you might want to get started if you want to show up. Now, there's many ways to play this game. You can, again, show up, no prep work at all. Just be surprised by the song even. But every Monday, or actually on Sundays, we send out our listening lineup for the week. And so if I share that here, let me pop that on the screen here. If I share that here, we have a playlist, and there's 4 songs in the playlist. And we send out a poster, and you'll get an email with this too, letting you know of our songs of the week, so you can get started with listening. And those 4 songs are for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And whatever the song is on Monday, that is what we call our featured listening class. That is the one where we are going to record that experience for you. We don't record the live class. I record that experience later. So if you come live, there's no recording when we're live. You can just come, feel free to ask questions. It's kind of our first run through the song, but later in the week, I will record that experience. And so if you can't make it to a listening class, don't worry, because we're going to have the videos for you in the video library, and you can check it out there. But whatever the song is that we're doing on Monday, there will also be a tutorial series on that where I'll show you how to play that song. So listening is the big picture. We're going to try to learn as much as we can through listening alone. So this means we don't start with a chord chart. There's no answers in advance. We're just starting with listening. Music's so easy to listen to. We enjoy listening to it. We want to make it as easy to play as it is to listen to. And this is one of the areas in the program that can really help you start to do that. So I'm going to share with you here. This is a template. We're going to talk about the song Wildflowers today by Tom Petty. And I'm going to share with you a few things that you can do to get started. And anybody can do this. It doesn't matter if you've never played an instrument a day in your life, you've never played a note on the piano. These are a few things that you can do to get started. And these are things that I do still. They're still extremely valuable to me. So the first thing we're going to do is, or the first thing that I like to do is I like to just be around the song. I listen to it in the background. I'll take a walk. I'll play the one song. I'll put it on a repeat. And I'm on my walk. I'm enjoying my walk. I'm out with my dog, enjoying the weather. I'm not really focused in listening too much. I just got a Bluetooth speaker, but I'm selectively tuning in, and I'm hearing things and just being immersed by the sounds and getting familiar with them. And I'm not here to teach you how to listen to music in the background. You probably already know how to do that. But once I get familiar with the song, then I start moving into active listening. And the first 2 things that I like to start with is I like to get timestamps, and I like to make note of the cast. So when I'm talking about the cast, think like a movie. You have actors that are playing specific roles. Well, this is like an audio movie. They're telling a story, and there's different instruments that are going to be played throughout. And that's really step 1, is just identifying the instruments that we're listening to, because as piano players, we want to be influenced not just by the instrument that we play, but we can learn from any instrument that shows up in the recording. And then the timestamps are more about song structure and getting an idea of what are the different sections that we're listening to. So typical ones are intros, verses, chorus, a bridge. And if you're not familiar with these, you'll begin to learn them over time. There's no set structure or formula that a song has to follow, but a verse is typically where a lot of the storytelling happens. The chorus is the part that everybody usually knows and can sing along to. And the bridge, if there happens to be one, usually comes later in the song, and it'll catch your attention by being different from what you hear in the verse and the chorus. So I'm going to go ahead and play this right from the start, and you can see what I have here is the intro starts right at the beginning, 0 seconds. At 10 seconds in, we're going to go into verse 1. At 37 seconds, we're going to hear another verse. So I kind of expect to hear similar things going on, structurally, harmonically in there. But again, just making note of these different parts. Just before the 1 minute mark, we're going to hear the chorus, and at 1:25, we're going to hear the bridge, and that's going to sound quite different from the other sections. And we'll point out these instruments as we go through. I've written them down in the order that they've caught my attention. So if I play this right from the beginning, hearing that acoustic guitar, and underneath that, you can hear these hi-hats. Here's those vocals. This is all in verse 1 right now. Okay, we're going to move into verse 2 now. Here's the end. A new beginning. Now here, hear the piano and a bass guitar. They're kind of working together. And underneath that, I hear a shaker. Here's the chorus. Now I hear this tambourine. Hear the piano playing in between those vocal parts. We've got another section coming up. This is the bridge. We're going to hear some brass. Now you might need headphones to hear this, and even if you have headphones, it might be hard to pick that out. The way that it's mixed, it's not like it's in the forefront. And then we're back into a verse. Okay, so these are some of the basic elements that you can get started with for a listening class. A few things that you can do to prep. Again, you don't have to do it in advance, but these are the steps. These are the steps that we take. And I want to know that. I want to know the song structure before we get started. Now, what makes this so helpful is I noticed that it wasn't until that second verse that we heard the bass guitar and the piano come in. And I know that the bass guitar gives me a lot of information about the harmony that's in place. Sometimes it's hard for me to hear what the bass note might be if I'm just listening to an acoustic guitar. Like, what is the root of that chord? Getting a little beyond, a little bit more into advanced stuff here talking about that, but knowing where the instruments come in at different sections, this is going to play into when we start listening up here, because I chose to listen to the second verse rather than the first verse because I'll get started there. I want to get started there because that's where I hear that bass. And if I play it again here. Run away, find you a lover, go away. And that bass is moving with the piano. So what I've got here is I've got things broken down into measures. This is that heartbeat that we were talking about. If I listen to this again. 1, 2. So each one of those blue tally marks represents one heartbeat in the song. And they're kind of grouped in 4s. And this song is in what they call 4/4 times. So we got 4 counts in each bar here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a question mark every time I hear that piano change its location. Because every time that piano changes its location, we're moving to a new chord. So I just want to get in tune with where are the changes in harmony. So where's my pencil? Here it is. So we're going to listen to that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chord.
Run away, find you a lover, go away somewhere all bright and new.
4.
I have seen no other who compares with you.
And I hear a little extra thing kind of jumping in here between the beat. So again, just marking where I feel those changes in harmony. And that's part of the structure. It's like building your framework. If you're going to build a puzzle, here's the framework. Here's the time. We got 8 measures in this verse section, and we've got a chord. We've almost got 2 chords in every measure, except for this one here. It looked like we just had 1 chord there. So again, I don't even need to know what the chords are. I'm just trying to get in tune with the overall structure of the song. Now, what you're looking at up top here, this is a block. And if you haven't gotten to this yet, this is all part of the stage 1 of the set list, our 40 lessons to develop your understanding of sound. This is all part of stage 1. It's within that the first 8 lessons. They're all pretty short. You can get through them fairly quickly, but again, if you don't have to know this in order to benefit from the listening class. You can work through these at your own pace, and it's all going to start to come together. But what we have here is when you see these 4 notes, this represents the first 4 notes of the major scale that we're in, the key that we're in. And then this is the next 4 notes here. And so we can see that repeat at the top. And so if you know major scales and you know your blocks, you'll be able to tell just by looking at this what key we're in, because there's only one landscape, one key that follows this pattern. The black cell is representing the black key. The white cells are representing the white keys. And so this is in the key of F. So we have F, G, A, that's going to be a B flat, and then C, D, E, and F, and then we've got a B flat here. And that represents the key that we're working in. Okay, now I want to also point out over here, sometimes you'll see me write things like this. I'm always giving you timestamps. This is happening at the 11-second mark. When we listen to this first phrase,
You belong among the wildflowers.
Yeah.
You belong among the wildflowers.
you belong among the wildflowers. Actually have it a little different here. You belong among the wildflowers. This one right here on Wildflowers, that's actually another 2. And what am I talking about when I'm writing these in? So this is related to the key that you're in. And so sometimes we write this out. We want to write in numbers, because when we write these out in numbers, what we're going to notice is every time we're in a different key, we may have different letters, but this sequence of numbers is always going to be the same. When we're dealing with the major scale, we're always dealing with these 8 notes. These, you see the numbers 1 through 4, and then 5 through 1. That 1 in parentheses, that's talking about the top of the scale. You'll notice that that 1 up top is the same as the 1 on the bottom, right? It's a repeat of the same note, 1 octave higher. And so when I'm looking at this melody here, what I can notice looking at that is, well, we got no 4s and we've got no 7s, right? This is very common when we're looking at melody notes. The 4s and the 7s are less likely to appear than the numbers on that top row there. If you're familiar with music theory, that's the pentatonic scale in the top, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. We call it the path here at popMATICS. That's where you're going to find most of your melody notes. And then all of a sudden, I can start to hear a little bit of melody. So depending on the song, we may write out different things. Sometimes we're a little more focused on harmony. We always bring in elements of harmony, but sometimes we like to pick out a little bit of the melody. And one of the things I'd like to show you here too when we're listening, if I just bring this back a little bit.
You belong among the wildflowers.
It's right there. You belong among the wildflowers. Now I put these little blue marks here. This is where I'm experiencing some changes in harmony. I'm hearing the guitar chords change there. So you can hear.
You belong among the wildflowers.
So on each of those notes, this first one's kind of coming in a little bit early, but then we're hearing some chord changes on all of those numbers that have that blue line underneath it. And so then it gets a little bit more tricky because now we are trying to figure out a little bit more about the harmony that's in place. And what I can tell you about this song is using, at the beginning here, 1, 4, and 5. Only 3 locations in the left hand. And so when we listen to this, again, I'm going to bring it to
Run away, find you love.
listen to that bass.
Go away, somewhere all bright and new. I have seen no other who compares with you.
And then we get that extra note. So we're actually just visiting 3 locations here. Now in class, I'll show you how we figure all this out and how we narrow it down and how we hear these different locations. But just for the purposes now, just to show you a little bit about what's going on, when eventually we replace these question marks here with the numbers for the chords that would be there. So what we were hearing there, you hear it?
Run away, find you lover.
What we're hearing is we're hearing a 4, a 1, a 5, and a 1. And so what's the 4th note? That's my B flat, the 1, the 5, and then the 1. And then we hear the 4, the 1, and then the 5. And then that one carries through. When I hear the next round, it's moving through the same progression. 4, 1, 5, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1. And then we have a fun little extra thing here, 1/3. That's going to take us to 4 as it goes into the next part of the song. But if I just play the bass line along with that, and just play those numbers.
Run away.
Let's see.
Run away, find you lover. Go away, somewhere all bright and new. I have seen
I can go to the high 5.
no other who compares with you. You belong.
Then we're moving to the 3, 4 there. Now, again, listening to where those are, I could put those chords in here. That was that B flat chord, and then we went down to an F, and then we went to a C, and then we went back to an F. And I'll just show you a little bit about where this goes from here. Again, this is listening class, so it's not a performance-based class, but we do a little bit of playing sometimes, so we can hear these things. And if I get that melody, and I come, you belong among the wildflowers. And now I put in that bass line with it. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. I'd have to go through and see if that's exactly what the melody is at that point. But the idea here is you start to play it the way that you hear it. And I tell people this all the time. A lot of people they come from programs where they're just learning chords and they learn how to play like a B flat chord. You belong among the wildflowers. And that's great, but sometimes you wonder, how do I get beyond that? And it's not usually that there's something that you need that's beyond that. Oftentimes it's that you haven't really gotten the melody and the bass line together. Now when you hear those together, now I can start to add a little bit more around that. And I can start to fill in chords around it, even if I'm just doing one extra voice. Among the wildflowers, you belong in a boat out at sea. Right? And so this is kind of how we start that process of learning by listening. We get the melody, we get the bass line, we get the chords, and then we try to put it all together and find a way that we can make this our own and make it our own special version by really understanding what's going on harmonically. Right? Look at that structure. 4 1 5 1 4 1 5 4 1 5 1 4 1 5 1. So this 4 1 5 1, this repeated structure keeps going over and over. A lot of times people come in, they think they're just listening to letters or thinking about letters, and they're trying to memorize the sequence and the order. And there's a lot more to it. Once you start learning things and seeing the patterns in numbers, it's going to become so much easier to recall these sounds because it's going to mean something to you. It's not just going to be memorizing a sequence of letters. And every time you move to a new landscape, the letters might change, but the numbers, we're still going to be working with these same numbers each time. So that's a little bit of an introduction to listening class, what you can expect from a listening class. Again, we'll guide you through the whole process. So if you have any questions, again, this is just meant to give a little bit of an introduction for those interested in joining our listening classes and finding out more about how you can learn by listening so you can play by ear with confidence. It's not just about process of elimination and let me hit a bunch of wrong notes to find the right ones, but through this process you can get to a point where you can be absolutely confident of what it is that you're hearing before you check it on your instrument. It's like, I know what that sound is because I studied that song, or I studied those sounds before, so I can now recognize them in the songs that I'm hearing today. Right? That's really what it is you're making connections between the songs you're studying today and the songs you listen to tomorrow. So that's all for now. If you have any questions about our listening classes or about the process here or anything that you see in this video, please be sure to let us know. We do have our office hours class on Fridays, so if you have any questions, you can come live to the office hours class and ask your question live, or you can submit those questions to the office hours channel on Discord, or you can email us as well, and we'll be sure to make sure that we cover any of your questions in that office hours class. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.